Welcome to the second TextCortex tea time, I call it now. It took us just 6 months to have our, dedicated and passionate framework coming back again. What should have been monthly product updates now turned into half a year after product updates. But little did we know, ever since March, the company has just massively exploded in the good terms. Yeah, always the favorite direction to the bottom right. Today joining me is Barish, my right hand for all things about growth within TextCortex, also the person with the most idea of education, because Ceyhun has some well-deserved time with his family back in Turkey. But Barish, a few words from you maybe.
Yeah. You know me, you know my face from a couple more YouTube videos that I produced recently, but then I couldn't keep up. Frankly, but I would love to, and I thank Dominic for giving me a chance to be a guest for this podcast or this tea time.
I mean, now that we have also made quite a scenery change in between, I moved. I might have spent the Amazon buy button too hard recently with buying way too much lighting all around us, but yeah, that's beautiful to have it now. Makes the whole thing look much more professional. But let's get back into this, very sophisticated framework I once developed for this. We start with the user quote of the month, and for the month of August, we have the quote from Mario saying, "I love TextCortex because they have truly cracked the code on being able to leverage knowledge bases, templates, and other tools when running AI. I use TextCortex on a daily basis because it is super intuitive and easy to use. It was so easy to integrate into my business flow. Now he's probably referred it to over 100 friends in some way or another." This is something which I usually love to see. Users who become customers after they've seen all the value, who become our biggest growth driver, or actually the second biggest growth driver, if you think about it, word of mouth. I still believe it's one of the strongest forces to really grow a product, just creating great value that people talk about. After the user quote of the month, we usually get on with some more of the features or other shout-outs we have in terms of highlights. I have another big and nice news I want to share, and this is that the Gartner platform, who also owns GetApp, who owns Capterra in particular for enterprise AI, or not enterprise AI in general, enterprise reviews relevant. GetApp has just called us in August a category leader and put us in the top 3 of conversational AI platforms. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great proof.
Yeah, I also slapped it on our landing page. You can't miss it now.
Social proof everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Capterra has put us on the shortlist in general for, I guess it was Enterprise AI. I need to check that again, but we will also put the links down in the description of this video. I want to start with a feature now, which I really started loving, and this is the new Ask Zeno voice feature.
You're a big fan, definitely. Whenever I see Dominic nowadays, he's just talking and talking and talking. But to whom? It's not a human anymore.
The people in WeWork really wonder, why is this guy constantly talking to himself? I'm not, I'm just talking to AI. The Ask Zeno voice feature is a heavy power user feature. You need to have the browser extension installed. You need to know some of the shortcuts. It's a little bit hidden to find. But then no matter on which website you are in your browser, you can just talk down your prompt. I love it in particular to use it for any type of brain dump I have. I'm a very chaotic thinker, so I oftentimes also just talk with Zeno to structure some of my thoughts a little bit more. And if you really have bulk information you want to convey, this is absolutely top-notch and amazing.
Yeah. Huh? I still have some eerie feelings when I'm talking to AI, but I think I'll get used to that. I need to get used to it, especially when we release this functionality. I think it's not even out on the extension, and you're using the draft version, but it'll be out soon, very soon. I think this week, by Friday, we need to promise that.
Amazing. I'm just telling everyone to use it.
It's very hidden at the moment.
But this is also part of a larger voice update we are currently drafting out. Not only will this small little voice feature be in this shortcut way of calling this Ask Zeno feature, but also across the whole platform, yeah, from the sidebar, from the Zeno chats, etc. It's just a much easier way. And I actually got pretty disappointed recently when I thought it's not working. It just turned out that I was missing internet at this point of time. But yeah, I got pretty disappointed that I couldn't use it. Yeah? My favorite way of conveying information now. The next one goes to you. We have 2 new integrations.
Yeah, Notion and Dropbox.
Yes.
Yeah, Notion is out, but Dropbox is only on our test environment, and we're testing it with a couple beta testers at the moment. Notion integration is really great, especially for, like, I know some people organizing their whole lives on Notion. It's insane to me, but yeah, there are some people that are able to do that. And frankly, I heard that they're also not big fan of Notion Q&A function apparently. But when I tell them about, like, hey, we launched the Notion integration and yeah, give it a try, and they were quite surprised how well it works, and even better in comparison to Notion's native AI solution. I'm also drafting and brainstorming. Yes, I don't organize my whole life or my business on Notion, but I'm a still pro user of Notion. You can consider me. And it's insane how powerful it can be when you plug AI to that. You can discover like a lot of things. We also use Notion as a company, and it's sometimes impossible to find one page where we have one crucial information. But now I'm just dumping everything we have on our company Notion pages, and yeah, I can find whatever I'm looking for in maybe like in less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean also same going with Dropbox. In general, these are all some of the users' most wished for integrations we are currently building. Mm-hmm. These are all type of like wikis, file management systems. Yeah, if you think about Google Drive, OneDrive, I think this is what we announced in the last product update. Yeah. What we also are looking for is in the future, how can we integrate emails, for example? How can we integrate CRMs? One of our enterprise customers also asks us now to integrate the SAP. The one challenge there though is we don't want to ship something which is not properly working. And in particular, if it goes around different informational knowledge integrations, yeah, these are all different file formats, and we are currently just testing out how does it make sense. I mean, I really look forward to the day when we have emails integrated, but the expectation, what we as a common day user of email expect, Andreas Görli, one of our lead investors, once made a post about it. If I find it, I will also drop it below. But he said he tried to ask Copilot for what are the most important emails this week, and it was summarizing something from 8 years ago. This doesn't really help you. So this is really the challenge, where also we are working on a lot of updates in the background. Things like metadata search, just infusing more information to inform AI more about what you really want to find.
And I would say, more importantly, what makes all of these functionalities go well together and make it powerful is that you don't only use Notion, you don't only use Google Drive or Dropbox. Like, we use Google Drive to store some key information about our content processes, for example. But Notion has some other distinct documents that we store, and Dropbox, for example, some contracts, right? So we have all these different data sources, and TextCortex is basically where we put down everything, and as a centralized knowledge base coming from different data sources, and we can find anything we want, and even more comprehensively very soon.
Building on top of this point, we also found an incredibly powerful slide about the power of this knowledge discovery, knowledge collaboration platform we have today. I hope that we can blind it in now into the video, but it's a simple comparison. If I ask our Google Drive for TextCortex user growth, and it shows me I remember from the picture, there's one folder where I know in the 6th or 7th subfolder, I would get my information, but I would need at least, 10 different searches, another coffee, maybe a nap in between to finally have found my answer, or I need to go to Badish and ask him again, such that he goes through that journey. And on the other side, we just have basically us asking Zeno TextCortex user group, and I get within 10 seconds an immediate answer. And this is what we've also seen working extremely well with our enterprise customers in terms of AI adoption. And this is also what we push a lot, where most of the product updates come, where we receive tons of feedback now to make it better, improve it. And I hope that in the future we will also be able to onboard much more people just for this one use case, really nailing it down. But we are not at the use case section, this comes later. We both have prepared something like good, how did I say it? Cooks in the television. That's a very German saying. One thing I'm very excited here as well is our persona revamp. The persona revamp was long due because it has been one of the features which showed the most success with users. I mean, we usually track, or not we track, but we basically analyze what makes users more active, and we've seen that users with a persona are 7 times more active. But the issue was people were really struggling in figuring out how they work. They didn't know what to put there, and maybe Badish can lead you a little bit through how it is working from what was the past to what is now currently the present with the persona revamp.
Yeah, for sure. So the old personas, when you try to create a new one, it's like creating a character. And we used to ask you a bunch of different questions, right? So that you can refine the tone of voice of the persona or of the AI more accurately. So it it used to give you a lot of control over what can be configured. But this wasn't an easy process when you think about it, like from the beginning to the end, it's a long user journey. Then we made it even simpler. And in this new version, you just briefly define the purpose of that persona. And then we ask you a couple questions related to what you have just written there. And then imagine I'm creating a video gamer persona, for example. This persona is a video gamer, loves talking about video games. And then we are going to ask you what kind of video games this persona is interested in the most, for example. Then you would fill in those questions, and then under the hood, we build your persona prompt or persona instructions towards the end. And just by simply asking those questions, we make the process more interactive. And at the end, you still see the final result and final instructions of your persona, which you can configure any way you want. But I think, shortened the time to value significantly, I would say.
Yeah. And I mean also what Badish has described there, this let's say custom questions you get now asked, or dynamic questions, we call them in-house. It has been also learning from many users who loved us for this prompt enhancing features. You can find this prompt enhancer, by the way, first of all, directly in the Zeno chat input bar. Yeah, so if you ever struggle to formulate some instructions to an AI, a GPT model, whatever, you can just press this little button and you get an improved prompt. This is also possible, I think, in the templates. I think
yes. When creating a template, you can also enhance your template instructions.
Yeah, and ultimately, where does it all come from? For many people, it still feels strange to describe something to an AI, even though it's also very similar to how I would describe a task to you, how I would describe it to Cyril, to Jehun, to Onur, to anyone in our team. The better sometimes your instructions given and better understand, also the faster people move on. With that, I would briefly close down on the feature highlights. I mean, there's a lot of and plenty of improvements we made here and there. Bulk delete of histories, I think, bulk delete of files, etc. A lot of smaller features. You can find that in. You can find this. You can find this in our Ducalis board. Yeah, I really recommend you, if you are super interested, subscribe to this Ducalis board. It is actually also the best informant for me today, because Jaehun loves to move the boxes from left to right. And what I want to start talking now is what's ahead. And the one thing I really want to begin this with is an upcoming Zeno revamp. I think that slowly becomes tradition. The last Zeno facelift revamp happened, I think, also last September, October. Then I blocked it for a while because I didn't want our users to constantly think about, or know a new user interface. But now we have basically put all the learnings from, over the last 6 to 9 months, condensed them, and you will still have all the control from before, but we will drastically reduce the noise around if you look at the current interface, there is this Chrome extension pop up in front of you. There is this horrendous get started template journey where you end up on your private templates. You're a new user, you don't have private templates. It is a lot of noise. I think one of the things when I think about the last update in February, we still had this very old navigation bar, which was just blasting noise in your face. If you ever encounter this and you don't like it, give us this feedback straight to our face. Sometimes, as we would say in German, wir sehen den Wald vor lauter Bäumen nicht. You don't see the forest because of all the trees in front of you. Sometimes we're just too deep. And sometimes it helps to get this outside feedback. But I'm super excited. In particular for enterprise customers, there will be also a whole lot of different types of customizations. And also Barish went hard on making our new motto, knowledge and answers, as well as a beautiful new AI-generated images, which are now also over all emails, but they look amazing. I love them.
It's becoming a trend, I think. And I don't think there is an issue with that. I can just come up with an AI-generated image and use it everywhere. We use it like ourselves in the emails and the landing pages. And it's very creative. It's very creative when done right.
Quick side note as well, we put Flux into the image generation capabilities as well. I also really like the model. My favorite use case of image generation so far is literally just, I've learned it from you originally. As soon as you've put this whole new branding initiative in place with the email title images, the first welcoming email gets, this has now also or will become our title image. And I love to use it for presentations. I always had this problem of, I build a slide deck and I have this very specific storyline in my head, like, working through knowledge today. Think about this knowledge drive example I mentioned a little bit earlier. It's like, horseback riding through a mountain of files. Try to find a stock image for that, to place this image into your mind. I now can just describe it, and so it looks a little bit ridiculous, but at least it keeps in your mind. So if you're well in describing which story you want to tell, vamos, the world is open to you.
Plus, these new models can really spell great, can spell out these letters, phrases. I try to have, I think, Flux to form a longer sentence, but it's having difficulty still. But I think it's pretty expressive when it comes to spelling our brand name.
By the way, I've also just realized that one of the lights just died, probably because of the battery. Learnings you make from having a new production studio. We are in my living room, to be honest. But next time I need to just charge this up. Another thing which will be coming is the Python interpreter. This is also something which a lot of people asked for, not only XLSX, yes, and a CSV support in knowledge bases, but also code interpreter, which we will deliver soon. Curious to receive more feedback around the whole thing, how it will work for you. In general, also with the Zeno chat revamp, we bring a concept of a side view or supporting view into the game. So instead of sending you to a nirvana, when you want to look into a PDF, for example, because this is currently the case, you click on a reference, it opens a new window, it loads for 5 seconds, then it jumps all across the page, and maybe you arrive where you want to be. You will arrive where you want to be, But still, it's not a nice experience. So we have the support view where there will be the PDF viewer, a website viewer for references. There will be the code interpreter put into it. I hope also the history, because we recently introduced the modal for history, which looks much nicer and gives you much more space to manage your conversations. But to be honest, for me, I always explain it as like, I have a beautiful view to the television tower in Berlin, but somebody places a building in front of me. Or think about it, you have a beautiful scenery and somebody just puts a skyscraper in front of you. You can't work with the main action area, which is the conversation and the chat input, basically.
That was a temporary solution, I would say, until we developed this side view.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, also, I'm very happy if this thing stays and people just enlarge it. Yeah. Basically, zoom it out, because literally, if you and I've also become used to it, that I can just, drag and drop whatever conversation I want to have in a single folder. I have pitch, I have a sales folder, I have a video script folder, etc. And I just now mix and match and put everything in there. Just wondering, is it currently possible that I can put such a folder into a knowledge base? I don't think so, isn't it?
You mean chat folders?
Yeah, I think about the full chat folder with a bunch of conversations and just interconnectedness.
I would imagine it's possible. I would imagine that, yeah.
We need to check with our product team. Otherwise, it's another feature we can put ourselves on a Ducalis board. Good. What else is ahead? There's a knowledge bases revamp coming. Also part in general of the big push of helping people getting answers to all the knowledge they have. On the one side, we are really well with explicit knowledge. So knowledge which is already documented and hence can be easily integrated. But also we want to become better in implicit knowledge. Respectively, it should be much easier. What we just discussed with those folders and just adding them quickly to a knowledge base, this is an example of implicit knowledge. This is most likely something which has been in the heads of your team anyway, of any member of your team, and now can be really quickly just added to a knowledge base. Think about an implicit growth knowledge base in our terms. I
think with that we will also bring some tagging of the information so that you can basically organize your knowledge even better. But I think what's even more interesting in this concept that we are working on is the knowledge graphs. So we'll be able to basically process your unstructured data, and we'll be able to reference which file is connected to which, if there is any reference to that, for example, and you'll be able to see the whole graph of your knowledge in a more structured way. And this will also affect the quality of the responses. You will be able to see which file is being referenced and what other files could be relevant to that query, for example, in a more sophisticated way. Also, knowledge graph, metadata. I'm really excited for what our product team is currently working in there, and just making a whole bunch of things more explorable. Similar goes with also knowledge prioritization, something we also have heard from many users, and we now finally implement after I have begged for it long enough. But I mean, it always has been a little bit of a complexity, which was a little bit distracting. Now we move on, get this in. Now we get to the section of use cases. Barish, how about you want to start about what you noted down with landing page generation, templates? Yeah. So I'm a big sucker for templates. I think I was also the one to design those things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You helped Honor reducing the complexity by
I remember that.
At least delete 60% of it.
I've been using templates a lot, as it was one of my favorite use cases. And I have my landing page generator. I have this size prompt behind, and I combine this with my persona. I also have a persona called TextCortex Guru, which knows pretty much everything about ourselves, our history, our communication, like way of communication with the users, with the visitors, and so on. And when I combine these two together, the results are pretty awesome. And this also is reflected on our growth numbers, I would say. And it's not fully automated, but I can basically produce landing pages at scale. I also do some fully automated landing page generation, but I'm a bigger fan of this because it still gives me some sort of a control, and I think it's easier if combined with a persona, because then the tone of the output is more with the brand voice.
No, I think, also one addition to that, you shouldn't automate everything. I think we are probably one of the best use cases for, or case studies actually, to how to leverage AI for content marketing in particular. There still needs to be a human component. Long story short, AI can help you write a lot, but you still need to think through which type of areas do you want to get into, what is type of the chapter structure, what do you really want to give in terms of value nuggets, so to say. This is how we operate with our content. There needs to be, you read this, one thing you should learn out of it. I hope also from these videos you not only learn one thing, but plenty of things, usually about our product. I hope that also sometimes we bring in some general learnings about the industry, what is technologically possible. And this is also a beautiful bridge now over to, templates is kind of the first version of an agent already. Particularly because you can prime a conversation into a direction to follow a certain style. This is what we already see with a bunch of our customers from the consulting space. Think about, you need to write project requirements, documents, yes. You need to, all these Porter's 5 forces, all these frameworks you usually know from McKinsey, BCG, Bain, etc. And the beauty of a template, you can activate it in the beginning of a conversation, and Zeno will ask you questions for as long as it has gathered all the information which is required and which you set in a template. Also just add the small little note like, please ask those things or ask for this information in an iterative and collaborative way. If you don't do it, it just asks you, slams you 10 questions in your face. This is not a nice experience. But if you really do it like step by step by step, you use the new voice feature, you get beautiful through it. This would have been my use case I wanted to show today. Project requirement document. But I've started putting it into everything now, also with our product requirement pages. I also have a template where I just ask for like, hey, please, this is the thing which I always need. In particular, there's this framework for products, the 5 Ws. Who is responsible? Why are we doing that? What are we doing, etc. And I kept forgetting this. And our engineers kept on telling me like, Dominic, but who's responsible for that? Why are we doing it? And it's just nice to have this one agent basically sitting next to me, constantly reminding it. There's also some amazing things we are cooking for. I don't know whether they hit the floor in Q4, probably more Q1. But in particular, I know we get a little bit into industry education. What we've seen so far from GPT-4 1.0, 01? The model is out for a day now when we record this. I'm pretty bullish that we finally achieved or reached a level where we can have well-reasoning agents. And if I think about, what was it, Auto GPT and all this, or Auto Agent or something, a lot of promises, but it couldn't really follow up because somewhere on the way it got lost. And I think also, I'm very curious to experiment. Our engineers and our product team is extremely curious about getting into that as well. And ultimately, if we think about the general company development, we also want to be kind of like the door opener and the one platform where you can rely on, where you can have, very generic AI, which drafts for you. You can have personalized AI, where we have been one of the first people. When I think about the first honeypots, where I put a tally, shout out to Tally as well, great product. A Tally survey form asking people for like, hey, please just submit 3 texts such that we can build a persona out of it. Didn't really have any effect beyond the psychological one on our users. But this is how our persona started, beginning of 2023. December was December 2022 came ChatGPT out. We had Zeno end of December, and then we straight started with personalized AI, behavior, So with behavior, with personas and templates, knowledge with knowledge bases, certainly integration as a third pillar with the extension, for example. But also this new area, generic AI, personal AI, and for the near future, then also autonomous AI, which really works for you, where you can also asynchronous, maybe go away. I think there's also something which a lot of people have started complaining about GPT 4.0. Recently, people just said that it hallucinated that it would be working on something for 1 to 2 hours and they come back. I've heard this notion on Twitter from ChatGPT itself, but also I've seen our users encountering this.
I don't know much about hallucinations, but I definitely read some Reddit threads where people were just not happy with GPT 4.0 performance and just wanting to go back to the raw GPT-4, even though it's slow now, like a lot too slow, but still sometimes I think more performance in comparison to GPT 4.0. At least this is what
it's a bigger model, more knowledgeable.
Yeah, and I think I would say, the auto GPT or these autonomous agents didn't pick up that much beyond the hype, of course. Like and due to the limitation, like it was first advertised as like how to, I don't know, order a pizza with AI. I mean, the use cases I think weren't defined back then. Like, why would I order a pizza with AI? I mean, I can just do this with my phone, no? Or I can just call up the pizza restaurant and order my thing. Or I remember seeing news about how AI hired a freelancer to complete a project. You can do these things yourself. And it's not the proper use case for AI. And I think this is what the problem was back then, and one of the reasons why it might not have picked up properly. But nowadays, what I love about our research department, I would say, now that we are a big Gen AI platform, we have to think properly and to think through what we are bringing to the platform and whether it fits to our ecosystem now. So it's not about like being the first, but being the best in certain functionalities, whether it be autonomous agents or whether it be agentic behavior.
I mean, this is also very common. If you look at the market, different type of chat assistants are accelerating in some spaces. Yeah, I mean, you have Claude definitely for coding, which is amazing with those artifacts. ChatGPT has the code interpreter and a really easy interface. Where we are great at are really the knowledge bases, I believe. This is where we have the biggest point on. And I mean, also if I think about custom instructions of some chat assistants, our personas are also accelerating, not only like we told today, creating them, but also managing them while in action. Yeah, with a quick add sign, you can just go and head this off. And I think we will further see some of these AI companies, further just specializing in a certain user group. That's where we say, hey, we want to be that one platform which delivers you knowledge and answers. That's hence the new motto. We want to get you to whatever you were looking for as fast as possible, but also then be a trustable platform here hosted in Europe, where in particular European businesses can expand their AI use cases with. Not only, I mean, to be honest, we have some of our B2B partnerships, a lot of consultants who currently help us implementing, onboarding the customers. I'm one of the most proudest part I am of our whole company is our customer success management and the excessive protocol we've built there. But at least we see companies like a Fortune 500 customer doubling their account within no time. Extremely happy and good activation rates, from an initial testing team going from 0 to 80% activation rate in the first month. This is what happens if you truly care about the human who should be using it. It's the same thing like, when you would have put this thing here, if you can see it now, in front of a user in the 90s and be like, okay, now use Excel with that. I mean, I'm not a hyper proficient Excel user. I know some shortcuts. I have worked with magicians there, which could have participated in the Excel Olympics, to be honest. Something which we now also started following excitingly. Anyhow, I think also we are slowly getting to the end. Yeah, it's already 36 minutes in. It will be a lot of fun for the editor to cut this down. I would love to close this slowly down. Is there anything you want to bring towards the end?
Yeah, I have no words. I'm lost at words.
Speechless.
Yeah.
Speechless. It's late Monday.
Speechless.
It's late Monday evening. Monday is always team day. So anyways, we are strained from meetings. I don't know whether this new light is also showing this at the moment. But yeah, typical call to action. I hope you learned something from this here. I've heard, shout out to Oliver from one of our enterprise customers right here at this part. He loved this video, and in particular for him, I wanted to revive this as soon as possible. As soon as possible sincerely meant 6 months. But here we are, back again. We will do this much more often now with an easier setup. But please, you have some feedback to our product, join our Discord community. You have feedback, you will also find everywhere links to our Ducalis board. Where we love to receive your feedback, to build something which really is for people who care, for people who matter. And wherever you get lost and where we can improve our education, let us know. Or where, again, there is too much noise, please just let us know.
We have no more excuses after Dominic has bought all of these lights to
that's
produce
true.
less videos.
And this is all on personal account. I'm too invested in video production now, but this is what my long-term hobby has now brought me to. The next time I will also make an extra shot with a drone here inside. Nobody will understand anything. Anyhow, thanks a lot for enduring this episode of product updates, what's ahead, use cases, and celebrating what we have achieved in 6 very exciting months. Thank you, Barish, for joining me here. Next time with Jehun, hopefully again. And let's have a nice ride into winter.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.